Alright. Hello? Okay, okay. Everything's in order. Looks like, kind of, mostly. Tracking's gonna be a little off. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I looked like I was a little loud there. I had a bit of a wacky time getting here. Basically, I had a really classic situation where my I just had a bunch of problems today. That's what the deal was. Hang on, let me see if I can pop something out real quick. I need to. I had a bit of a wacky time getting here today, just because it's like I realized something like right around when I was supposed to stream today, where I checked my fridge because I wanted to grab something to drink, and turns out my fridge has been broken for like a full day. I moved. That's why I was busy last week. I was moving to somewhere new, and I've been here for about like a week, and my fridge is already fucking busted, which is tragic. But I'm getting it looked at, but and hopefully I won't be charged for it, but that's kind of just my problem. But basically, I had to grab a neighbor of mine and ask them to basically house my frozen food, and from that and then from there I had to basically. I came back, and then I came up, and then I had my whole thing set up, and then I realized that the way I've got the room set up currently, it's just too. Sorry, I'm shaking a bit here. Sorry, I'm still getting my setup figured out. But basically, I realized it's way too dark at my desk for my tracking to work properly. It's still gonna be a little wacky. I don't know what the deal is right now, because normally it's better than this. But I think part of the problem is that where I'm at right now, it's not as well lit as where I was previously, so. It's causing a bit of an issue. One of my monitors is out, and I forgot apparently in the process of moving, I forgot the power plug to my desk lamp. So I was like, oh shit, I can't do this if my light doesn't work. So what ended up happening is I was like looking around, and I was trying to figure out how to get some light on my face, because otherwise the camera can't tell what's going on with my face. And what happened was that like I don't even have like a flashlight or something I could do on like a temporary basis. So like, and then like until I get this plug replaced for my desk lamp, it's not going to. There's no way I can get there's no way I can get like light from my desk to my face. So what I ended up doing is that I had this floor lamp that I just had the box sitting around forever, and I never set it up. And that is literally like the only thing with like the capability to produce light in my entire like apartment right now. So what ended up happening is that I spent the past 30 minutes assembling the thing, and now I've got a very nice floor lamp, providing some measure of light to my face. But as a result, I'm quite late today again. But I have a good excuse this time, kind of. I had to put everything together. I'm having a wacky fucking day. Long story short. But yeah, we are here with Roadwarden, War Rodent. I'm a rat. But there's we're playing Roadwarden, and that means I have no idea what this game's actually about. Presumably we're going to be warding a road or something like that. But all I really know about this game is that a friend of mine recommended it to me, and that friend of mine that recommended it to me is usually really picky. Like, he's very particular about games, and this game looked really text and narratively focused. So like, he's really particular about narratives and things like that. Like, he's just very critical. He's a very judgy guy. So I was surprised when he recommended a game to me. So we're playing it right now. Oh god, we already have choices. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. Let's go. Sounds like me. Oh, there's a time limit. Please select the difficulty mode. The choice can't be altered later on. So we've got a 40-day time limit, and this is for those familiar with RPGs. I guess we'll go with standard. I know I know an RPG or two. I'm playing a couple right now. Oh, is this our UI? Alright, that works for me. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You're supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk, nor trolls, and the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. Let's peek inside the gate, see what's going on. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. I'm already down 1 vitality, that's bad. Your heavy boots hit the ground and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. I approach the gate slowly. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space, the fire pit is cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbor. I need to look around cautiously. Let's peer around, see what's going on. The people inside the camp didn't even notice the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. It doesn't look like much of a threat. I can enter. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes, his beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary, yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I'd let them speak first. It's nice to see an unharmed traveler in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong, yet timid. You'll be staying the night with us, I guess. We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armored woman. Her moment switches from half asleep to relaxed. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travelers ought to help each other, wouldn't you say? You think for a moment. To fully rest, you'd need a good sleep. Sure. Fantastic, she rubs her hands together. I don't remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I ask him about their lieutenant. You wonder how to phrase the question. Oh, God. Whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. Friendly, be supportive and cordial. Playful, use a joke or a witty comment. Distance, hide your emotions. Intimidating, hint at a threat. Vulnerable, be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. Let's be friendly. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gambeson, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I, though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new road warden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. It may be a trap. I gesture for her to stop, pretending to be embarrassed. I should wash myself first, but you can call me... Lido? Probably not. I'd rather not. We'll go with Musa. The lieutenant stands with her hands out, but then raises her arms with an awkward smile. Oh, of course, of course. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. We should also prepare for the night. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. That's fine. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragon Woods from the conquest in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's my only companion here. I want it to feel at ease. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch at the bottom of its neck, with strength and confidence just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals and even pets as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than the shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. This setting, wherever this game takes place in, is fucking dangerous. Jesus. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade. A fighter, a mage, or a scholar. Interesting. Usually the classic RPG trio is like fighter, mage, and thief, or like rogue or whatever. Decent combat equipment, talismans, writing instruments, and alchemical ingredients, as well as an iron axe, a worn games, and a healing potion. I want to learn more about the three classes. As a fighter, you'll have an easier time in physical challenges thanks to your superior equipment and hidden bonuses during dice rolls. You'll be physically more capable than the other classes, what opens unique opportunities during some social interactions. It's the best class for RPG beginners. The fighter's weakness is their reliance on physical strength. Your special abilities won't be available to you if your vitality points drop to 0. The mage uses Pneuma, a versatile but limited pool of energy points that can be spent to cast a few humble spells. Magic won't protect you better than a sharp axe, but as a mage, you'll be able to heal faster while resting, detect magic in a mysterious area, distract a beast with a simple trick, and find a common tongue with other magic users. Using the mage's powers too freely will result in having no Pneuma left when you need it the most. The scholar will know more about the world's mysteries than you, helping you take advantage of some unusual situations. Your character will impress the locals with its knowledge, and you'll be able to read the sparse written clues without anyone's assistance. Scholars struggle with combat more than the other classes, but with enough carefulness and exploration, you'll gain access to alchemical mixtures that will help you escape from many dangerous situations. What I'm hearing here is that this game's very beginners please. This channel has inspired a lawnmower professional. Doesn't even begin to describe the skill level. We're not professional. We're worse than professional. We're weird. I think we'll go with mage. I'm hearing resource management with Pneuma, which terrifies me, but the fighter's like a beginner thing, so maybe that's not my deal. Scholar, what I'm hearing here is that this game's probably very, like, knowledge-based. All games are knowledge-based to some extent, but this game seems very, like, knowledge-oriented. So I feel like if I played this normally, I'd probably go with fighter, but we're just doing a one-shot for the stream, so I figured we might as well go with mage. Scholar sounds like it's worth a shot once you actually know what you're doing. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced, the spare clothes are still here, just in case. There, okay. Just in case, you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. Yeah, it seems like a second or third playthrough choice. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like something where, like, once you know the situations in and out, you can really take advantage of the scholar. That's what I'm guessing. A lot of games that focus on challenges in like this style, I think, tend to have like one weird class where like they don't. Oh hey, hello, Belle the cat. But basically, like, there's a lot of games, indie games, that like have this sort of approach where there's one weird class that doesn't seem useful, like on the face of it, but then like as you learn more things, you tend to be really good. And then like then you can take advantage of like weird stuff once you've got more game knowledge. So I feel like if I was playing this game a lot, and then we got to like my 4th playthrough or something, I'd start going Scholar. Taking hits will damage your armor. You can then fix it in various settlements. Okay. There's going to be a lot of traveling, I think. You unpack and inspect your... Alright, I return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. I'm not totally convinced these guys aren't bandits. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. Oh, we've got an expert in chat. Adorable. You get to see me fuck this up, because I didn't know anything until like 10 minutes ago. You can sit down on a tree log. I'll thank them for the meal, but I don't want to eat with them. I'll sit down and ask Talia what she can tell me about this area. She's focused and chooses her words carefully. Interesting. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, 1 has run away in tears. Expert is a relative term, okay? In a field of children, the adult is a genius. 5 are... Oh, is that a follow? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm afraid I can tell you... Hang on, there's a thing I need to turn off here real quick. Turn that off when I'm playing Roadwarden. Hell, there we go. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to. We're also strangers in this land, as your companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward. His legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I'd expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Hovloven to keep it under control, you are warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. That's an interesting detail, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? Oh, baby. Before I continue my journey, I need to ask him about the peninsula, the Roadwarden, and the rope. Okay. What happened to your squad? The man shrugs. Bandits happen, and monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would all have died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, and that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers. Stay there at night, lose everything you have. You guys aren't giving me a lot of confidence here. Some people living in this, like you show up to a camp and you like sit down with them and they're like, yeah, it's crazy. We came down to a camp, this exact camp, and a bunch of people dressed like soldiers, kind of like we are, just robbed and murdered people. It's crazy. Sounds like slave hunters. Talia sighs, very much so. They killed some and took others away, who knows where. They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kinda worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate, it's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well? Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too experienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a tree ant. Oh god. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of a ritual hunt, so a bear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he had cut his hand while cleaning his gambeson. She lets out a ghastly chuckle. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You made this place safer. Barely. Talia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. What was your squad's mission? The lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual. Making the road safe, keeping people alive. I explain that it may be important for me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. You sense no hesitation. Do you have any other questions? Can I ask them when they came over? Because they said that they sent the soldiers out like half a year ago, so if like the story doesn't line up, that means these guys are lying. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would be 3-4 days. When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Hovlov and officials to... I assume I'm pronouncing that properly. Officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Okay. Because of the rocks. You can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to trade, and to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, you know, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post, and, well, he turns toward Tolia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Musa, but... Are you a devout soul? Oh no. Am I religious? Like most city folk, I believe that people should unite their strength to overcome the threats of nature and dark magic. Everyone will be judged for good and evil deeds. I'm a part of the United Church, so that's Catholicism or something. For many years, I've supported a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth, artistry, herbalism, and magical research. I follow the teachings of an order of truth. That's okay. I'm from a small village. For me, the freedom of shell, pneuma, and soul are the main virtues of life. My community is unique and independent, and so are its members. I have a place in my fellowship. That's like paganism, kinda. Oh no, wait, this is paganism, never mind. This is some other bullshit. I have a strong connection to nature and spirits and follow the path of my ancestors. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. You'd probably call me a pagan. There's no evidence of the right's existence, and all the mystical tales are explained by magic. No, I'm not. I'm an atheist. Tree ants are real shit, but gods, ugh. Alright, I'll say a fellowship, because I want to be a special little boy with special little beliefs. Oh, I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about that river of faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I'm a Unite myself, she says with a sort of pride in her voice. So she follows the United Church. Maybe just explain what you were thinking of. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here, she starts to draw lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing at an invisible map. Magic, totally real, but gods, pshaw. It was funny. There's an RPG out there I'm trying to like get my fingers into, which is the Pathfinder ones. The ones by I think Owlcat is the name of the developer studio. The main reason it's hard to get into is that Pathfinder is a very... One thing that paralyzes me in RPGs is having too many choices, and Pathfinder is like literally all choices. It's obscene. Like, the amount of freedom you have is ridiculous, and the amount of choices you have is absurd, and that means that, like, I got so stuck on character creation, I just looked up a guide and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this. I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch any of this bullshit. But, like, the funny thing about that game is that they have atheists, even though like there's also paladins who are using holy light to like smite people. Like that's why I couldn't play 3.5. 3.5 is confusing. But there's like a character that's like an atheist or something, and I was like, how the fuck do you manage that? But it means something else. I think the way they explained it, I think this is in Pathfinder, but the way they explained it is that an atheist believes that gods do exist, but they shouldn't be worshipped. Like, they're not anything special. Like, it's that they're really big magical powers, and they'll smite you, but that doesn't mean you should be like praising them or praying to them or like, you know, making sacrifices and things like that. I think that's how they explained it. Something like that. It's not that the gods don't exist, it's that the gods aren't hot shit like everyone else thinks they are. Anywho, the peninsula is connected with roads like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite like yourself. They do crazy shit, her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Yeah, that makes sense. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy the river of faith. The modern approach to Greek gods, if real, what the fuck are you doing praising them? I don't want to worship Zeus. He fucked my sister. He was a goose. You want me to worship that guy? I can't worship him. My son is throwing lightning bolts. I want him to pay alimony. I want him to pay child support. The church should be paying me. The United alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, the necromancers and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. Okay. Were you... How about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell, we went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wow, they're smart. Wilderness all around. Any monster worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, tree ants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, what the fuck? Mouflon eaters, griffins, but we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with most mounts. Tilia glances at her companion. Though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? You can see why we were not eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a road warden. These roads are dangerous, with little to no shelters. The people need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're eating to the... if you're eating undead, if you're chewing zombies, if you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tullia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeeper or the guards. Ask them about the road. That's all I need to know. I'm afraid we can't do more for you. I think it's pretty obvious how she became lieutenant. The rest of her fucking leader died. Anything I should know about this camp? The story is brief. Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as a shelter for travelers. The bandits came here in spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here wherever you want. The man concludes their tale. Though don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. Oh my goodness, it's a Fresno. Yeah. The Nightwalkers. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tullia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldiers speak for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, writing notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave it done. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tullia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. Mouflon. Mouflon's a real thing. What the fuck is a what is that? Oh my god, it's a goat. A wild sheep native to Cyprus, the Caspian region from eastern Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Iran. It is thought to be the ancestor of all modern domestic sheep breeds. Oh. It's like the aurochs to the cow. Okay. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him. Or a Saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. So, okay, they called something a Saurian, and I think that means his mount. I think this man was riding a dinosaur. Because I feel like you wouldn't use the word soar in Saurian unless you were implying it was some kind of big lizard. That's exciting. Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. Oh yeah, they have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insight into his dealings, said Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. We also took a look at Asterion's stuff. Oh, wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. Lizard cowboy. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids! He has kids. Not true, I've been bitten by a horse. That, I do hear that does happen, and I heard that I hear that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. I hear that they have some nasty fucking teeth for herbivores. He has kids in a village near Hovloven. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure, she glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. It got my pinky. Your pinky? Wow. Did you keep it? I don't know. I heard horses have some bite force. I wouldn't be surprised if one like clipped someone's finger off. They want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger. Yeah, it's still here? Okay, good, nice. Yeah, I've never been bitten by anything, I don't think, but I've gotten close. Nothing as big as a horse, though. I don't spend too much time around large animals. Oh, I spooked a rattlesnake once. That was freaky. I was walking along like a hiking trail, and I think because the trail was popular, the snake was used to nearly getting stepped on by people. But like I just nearly took a step onto like a rattler, and then like it just kind of lazily rattled a bit, and then just kind of crawled along the trail and into a bush or something. And I was like, wow, that could have been bad. Yeah, I left the little guy alone and he left me alone, so we went our mutual way. Anyway, we've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We are meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get you back to Hovloven together? You think about your real mission. You're planning to return to Hovloven in the early fall anyway. Jeez, yeah, luckily you passed your perception check. Yeah, I had, my ears were on. That's good. The thing was right in front of me. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything. And who knows, you may just... Snakes really do get that fight or flight going. It's kind of funny, because, like, snakes are, like... I'm pretty sure in the original Tale of Gilgamesh, a snake killed Gilgamesh or something like that. Like, they're just, like... I feel like I've read a bunch of old stories where, like, it's like, oh, how did this person die? They got bit by a snake. Like, that's just kind of the way it happened. You know, you're just walking around in the woods, you get too close to a bush, step on a snake, and the snake bites you, and, well, you're dead. Whoopsie daisy. Luckily we don't live in those times anymore. Anyway, true, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything, and who knows, you might just find a shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. Is shell the term for corpse? Or something like that? He wears mail, uses a spear mostly. Maybe 5 feet tall, but stout. Wow, he's Wow, interesting. Long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. He sounds hardcore. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left, just let me know. Yeah, body, that's what I was thinking. I've lost my rope. Could you spare one? You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down in her chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. A fine rope. A regular rope made of hemp fibers. Buy for 0? I'll buy for 0. Tullian nods. For now, you leave the rope on the table. I don't want to trade my food out yet. We've got 2 things of rations, 5 coins. Wait, food rations. They consist of dried meat, crackers, nuts, seeds, fruit, and water, which spoil slowly and don't require additional cooking. A pouch with coins. The city artisans make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. That's hardcore, holy shit. They are valued by merchants, though rarely used in the countryside. A winged hourglass hidden. It's yours, my friend. A steel pendant hanging from a leather strap. It's common to wear such jewelry to demonstrate one's allegiance to the right. Oh, that's because I'm religious, okay. A gambeson, padded defense jacket made of linen filled with rags. It's the cheapest type of armor, yet surprisingly effective, and as a result, very common. Yeah, knights used to wear those under their chainmail, and they would, it was part of like, if we ever play Kingdom Come, they really hit the world building out of the park. Oh yeah, no, they've got I adore this sort of thing where they have, like they work little bits of world building into into item descriptions and things like that. Like it shows that they actually thought like top to bottom about all the little details. But yeah, gambesons are always like the first layer. Like you have a gambeson and then some mail and then some plate, and that's like a full, and then maybe like a jacket over the plate, and that's like all your layers in Kingdom Come when you're going full knight. Sounds agonizingly hot, but whatever. It keeps you from getting gutted, I guess. Magical amulets. Magic is unreliable, so you spent a sack of coins to collect a couple of enhancing amulets. They help you focus your pneuma in ways that you don't quite understand. If my eyes get a little shaky today, just ignore that. I'm just being possessed by spirits. A rope. It can support the weight of 4 people with their traveling equipment. That's a strong-ass rope. Holy cow. The travel set. Your sacks contain all sorts of useful tools. And a simple battle axe. Traveling with an axe shows that you've learned how to fight humans and human-sized monsters. It's not masterfully made, but it's already been put to the test, and you practiced with it for many days. Cool. If you were me, where would you go next? The soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more traveled, mentions Tullia, but the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have the chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how I can make a good first impression on him? She smirks. Avoid cheap jokes, stick to trade, don't waste his time. Show him that you can be relied on. Alright, got everything I need. Are you sure? Says the bearded man. We may not be around the next time you come here. We should prepare for the night anyway. I agree, Tullia sighs with relief, and may you do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Thank you for your help. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it will only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes that... Apes? They've got monkeys? Oh no. They climb up and carry out any food they can find, and then there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall, although it has never tried to get in. What kind of place is this? He points at a gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead. He scratches his head. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire, and the best place is on the watchtower. You may want to put a blanket there or something. The watchtower? He gives you a long, puzzled look. Oh, here. He points at the pile of crates. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side, the more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding. He points at the tent on the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go there after me and rest just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. I smile. Thanks a lot. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. Oh no, it's nighttime. I'm getting word that we are the Centel. Oh no. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time, your back aches, and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time, you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, you see three-horned deer trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a two-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. What kind of deer are these? After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight, nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Animals. Runners are chasing a gray hare. A group of what is a runner? A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcome rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. Explore the peninsula. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Hovlovan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time, 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tolia and return to Hovlovan. There, you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. Extra coins so I can help a person. Oh no, personal goals. Gather some extra coins so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. If I gather enough connections among local leaders, I'll use them to become a major player in the Merchant Guild. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm. A hero. I just want to help people, make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. Appearance 2-5. You don't stand out from the crowd. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. Oh no, we've got resources. Okay, let's see. Do we want money? Are we here for the grind? Are we here for influence? Do we want to do business? Do we want to help people? Or do we want to run away? Let's run away. Let's run away from debt. That's what I like. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, although the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You can't travel during the night. Press the sleep button to rest. Like anywhere? You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. All I can do now is rest. Sleep. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. You don't need to eat now. That's money. Okay. So minus appearance, minus food, plus vitality, plus... Is that magic? Oh, that's spooky. Pneuma. Yeah, it's magic. You take a look at your amulets. For most people, they would be nothing more than trash, but you wouldn't sell them for a pouch of dragon bones. You use them to shape pneuma into your will. With these little mementos, the few spells you're familiar with are far more reliable. Who knows, maybe there's already some power held in them. You look at the old, though clean bandages that remember dozens of herbal balms and wounds. You can put them on your hurting muscles, bruises, and scratches, then hum an old song about time, which either heals all wounds or kills us too soon to let us bother with our problems. After a few hours or so, the linen will warm up, confirming it did its job. This tent may not be much, but your spell would make you feel as good as new, though you'd lose some of your energy. I don't need to restore my pneuma tonight. I performed the ritual. I'd rather keep my soul stronger than myself. Well, we're gonna sleep, so I think we're alright. Like, we'll get health anyway from sleeping, right? Maybe? No? Okay. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No, burning... Already? We just started. Burning meat. Burning rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. Uh-oh. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tolia is the first one to address you. Musa, she greets you with a nod. Okay, I thought we got invaded by dragons or something. She greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter, a young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now, it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tolia calls this undead a she. Most Unites hesitate to do so. Okay, so it's like The Walking Dead. You have to destroy the body or else it becomes a zombie. That's radical. Time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Tolia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. I prepare myself for the journey. Use the travel button to see the map and move to another area. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, then get in the saddle. The palfrey knickers, ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads, north from here. Safe travels is a thing of the past. Ooh, boy. Ooh, doggy. We're just going into the darkness. Oh, no. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak with Tolia and return to Hovloven. Up we go. Yeehaw. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. Have you guys ever been alone in the woods? Or like, have you ever gone camping and slept in like a tent? One thing that really surprised me about the wilderness is how fucking loud it is. Just all the random shit you just hear for no reason. And like, I had this one time where I went hiking, and long story short, I mentioned this on stream before, but long story short, I got lost. I went on a backpacking trip with some friends, and it was very poorly planned because we planned to camp 3 times. We ended up camping once because our second campsite was just fucked up for some reason, and we couldn't stop there. So what ended up happening is that we hiked like 16 miles in one day. Like all in one go, and that was a exhausting ass fucking hike because most of it was uphill, and what ended up happening is that right at the end, because we were super slow too, because it was me, another guy that was also like unprepared for hiking essentially, and a guy that was a Boy Scout, and then like his dad. And the dad and the Boy Scout were, much more prepared for hiking than me or my friend were. My friend, who wasn't much of a hiker, he went in jeans. I went backpacking for a week and spent most days with just a sleeping bag. My walking pole broke, which was the prop for my tent. Ooh. Oh, that's awful. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds terrible. But yeah, my friend went in jeans, so he started chafing super hard on the road. He even put like Vaseline on his thighs, but it didn't help him because like he went in jeans. Yeah. It was horrible. So after 16 miles, his fucking thighs were bleeding. Like the chafing was so bad, it got past like the first layer of skin. So he was basically walking slower and slower and slower as like the hike went on. And by the time we got to the end where we were finally going downhill, he was way in the back. The dad, who was the adult of the group, was behind him. Good weather, and it saved a lot of time. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad you liked it. I can see it being pleasant. I just usually when I'm out in the wilderness, I'm just mad. I'm a bit of a homebody, so I'm always like whenever I'm outside, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I'm thirsty. It's late. I'm too hot or too cold. It's dirty. Except for the missing pole during the hike. Yeah. Anyway, what happened was that like my friend who was chafing was in the back, and then the Boy Scout guy knew where we were supposed to go, so he went ahead of us, and I like looked behind, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to stick around with these guys, and I'm just gonna try to catch up with the guy that went ahead. I went ahead. Turns out the guy who went ahead of everybody, he knew where he was going, like he had been on the trail before, but he also went way faster than I was expecting him to. So what happened was that he went down the road, and I didn't see him when he did this, but he actually made a turn in a fork that went down like a mostly hidden pathway that led to where our destination was. I didn't know it was kind of hard to see where we were supposed to be going, and also it was like twilight, so I couldn't see that well. I took the larger part of the fork, which I thought was the only road down, and I went off, and I kept walking, and then that emptied out into a camp. I was like, oh yeah, we're supposed to head to like a camp, weren't we? I get in there, I look around. There's no one in this camp. It's a bunch of empty cabins. So I'm just walking around. The sun is like mostly set already. I'm walking around. All the buildings are empty. I'm looking for like light or fire or something because I'm like they're probably doing like a campfire thing. That's what summer camps usually do, right? I look around. I eventually end up at like a paved road, and then I turn around and I look at the sign. The sign says YMCA. And it gave the dates for when the summer camp was open. They were fucking closed. So I was like, oh, shit, where am I? Because I didn't have a map and my phone was dead. So I was just like, I was there. I didn't have water either. So I was like, I like sat on a stump and I was like, okay, I'm fucked. And then I just ended up walking in a circle, just desperately trying to find some like people. And I knew there was a road with some cars on it. Nearby, so I was like, maybe I can hitchhike, but that's kind of risky. So what I ended up doing is I looked around, and then I saw some lights between the trees. Like I saw a light peering between the trees, like away from the camp, like in the woods, and I was like, sure, why not? And then I walked between the trees, walked into the woods, walked up to where the light was, and the light was at this little cabin, this little wooden cabin, and then I walked up to like the metal grate doorway, and then I knocked on it, and then inside was this fucking like nuclear family. Like it was a dad, a mom, and like their son and daughter, and then they just looked at me through like the wooden grate, saw me like all dirty and probably looking really weird with my giant fucking backpack, and then the mom looks over at the dad and she's like, "There's a man there," and then the dad like stands up and like walks over. He's like, "Hey buddy, what's going on?" And I was like, I'm lost. Do you know where this camp? I gave him the name of the camp we're supposed to head to. I was like, do you know where this is? And he's like, kinda. I think that's like a mile down the road. Is that like a mile down the road? Like he turned to like the mother, and she was like, yeah, I think that sounds about right. And he's like, oh, I could take you there if you want me to drive you there. Like, you know, since you clearly need some help. And then I would keep in mind 16 hours of hiking that took like that 16 miles of hiking that took like fucking 18 hours because one of the people we were with was bleeding from his legs. I turn around, I look at the dark road that leads into the fucking night woods. I'm looking at pitch darkness. I'm looking at the forest, and I look back there, and I look back at this guy, and you wanna know what my fucking like introvert, like anxiety riddled, like no self-esteem brain fucking said? I said, no, that's fine. If it's a mile down the road, I'll just go that way. And then I turned around and I went into the darkness. I went down the road. But like just into the dark. I didn't see any lights or anything. I didn't see any indication that there were humans down there. I just went. I was like, all right, it's like a mile down this way. I should see some people eventually. And I just went. It's dark. Like the sun's set. The stars are out. I'm hearing like noises behind me, like shuffling in the. No. It gets better. I hear like shuffling in the leaves and the bushes and stuff. So I turn around once in a while because I know this area. Oh yeah, by the way, the area has like cougars or something. Like it's not totally safe. So I like turned around and I was like, I'm probably fine. And then I kept going. Eventually, I see a sign like mounted on a tree, right? And the name of the sign, it says warning, property of, and it was the name of the camp that I was supposed to go to, right? And I look at I look at it, and then it says like, you know, property of, and then the name of the camp, and I was like, oh, okay. I see like a little like dirt pathway that goes past it, and I was like, all right, I can go this way. This way is the way to like where I should be going. I walk down that road. I have my flashlight out because it's so fucking dark I can't see into the woods. I have my flashlight out. I walk. I'm like my feet are crunching the leaves. I'm walking into the darkness away from the paved road, and then I just keep walking down the dirt, and then eventually the dirt road just turns into grass. Like, it disintegrates. It's not a road anymore. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is just the wilderness. This isn't the property of anything. Like, there's nothing here. So I look around for any sign that there's, like, any buildings or people around here. I look up the hill a little bit, and I see a light between the trees. I'm like, okay, there we go, light, that's signs of humans. I walk up the hill, I walk between the trees, I go up to the light, I go up to a building, I go to the building that's emitting the light. It's a little wood cabin. I go around, I walk up to the metal grate door, I look through it, and it's the same fucking family I just talked to like an hour of nighttime ago. And then I knock on the door, they all look at me, the mom says, he's back. The dad stands up, walks over to the door, opens it, and he's like, no luck? And I was like, yeah, no luck, can you drive me please? And he's like, alright, I got you. I looped around somehow. I don't even remember how it happened. Yeah, but the guy was there, and he drove me to where I was supposed to go. I show up. My hiking group is like, where did you go? At least I didn't run into Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf. There were no Shia surprises. So yeah, I now have a healthy fear of the woods. Yeah. Anyway, that was I think that was the last time I went on. That was the only time I ever went on a backpacking trip, and that was the last time I went on like a really serious hiking trip. Yeah. So advice. If you go into. If you hike out in the woods, just don't get separated. Make sure you have a map and don't get separated from anyone else. That's just do that. Also, make sure you know who you're going with when you're hiking with people, because if they're idiots, you might run into a bad situation. Yeah, this was I think that was like the end of my. I think that was like the end of my, you know, that period of time where you're like a kid and you feel like you're invincible. That ended that shit real quick. I realized I was a soft, small little creature in a big scary world. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So that's what this game's reminding me of, since we're like alone in the woods, and that's kind of the main deal. Anyway, the warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. The griffins in this world are tiny, wow. Each one is of a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. The wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. If you have enough Pneuma, you can cast spells to access unique interactions. Oh, well, I've got all 5. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these are other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. And there are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. The die icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. Hurry the horse or stay here. I grab an amulet and shape a missile of light. A harmless flare will frighten them off. Let's do that. You grab one of your oldest amulets, a pendant made of leather and a single dim pearl. The little sphere is covered by cryptic engravings, but if there's any special meaning behind them, you are never able to find out what it could be. There are reasons for groups, are there? Fascinating, I wonder why. Holding the pearl between your fingers, you feel the pleasant, familiar warmth. The spell you are about to cast is not much more than a mere illusion, but you take a couple of breaths, trying to minimize any risk of failure. The pneuma leaves your shell, formed into a white ball that you barely comprehend. When it falls next to the griffins, for a couple of blinks it emits dazzling light. The animals squeak and snarl, fleeing in multiple directions at once. The road is now clear. I ride forward and enjoy the touch of my pendant. It cools down slowly. The new adventure reached the first crossroads. Oh boy. Keep track of your achievements as your journey unfolds. My name is Musa. I used to be a mage. Ooh. Oh, is this gonna change as we play? That would be cool. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write for folks who can't read. Brutal. Covered in old red paint. It points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. What's its name? Fucking what's the name of our horse? We'll go with that one. Klops McGee is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forwards. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Time to make a turn. Oh, travel. Let's go left. Klops McGee trots with ease. Oh, that kind of rhymes almost. I'm feeling good already. Unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road, the bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and sorry. We said boars and deer, and I was like, oh, this place is kind of normal, and then they said giant fucking lizards, and I was like, okay, never mind. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters like a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. One thing that's really good about this game, it does something that I'm honored, but old Klops McGee here is swankier. Nah, Kurt, we're not gonna name a horse after you. We're gonna name something more dignified, like a man-eating lizard. That's what I would do. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. Oh shit. Hey Frankified. We're playing a really weird little game. We're playing a weird little game in a horrible world is what it is. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons. Each one of them dyed differently: yellow, green, and linen gray. I approach the gate. A woman in yeller leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I ain't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass. Huh. Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovloven, but no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? This person seems to have a sense of humor. I laugh. You wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey, and when your whole shell was crying, you illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips, then thighs. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten-off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood. The woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you, but don't get so noisy when you talk to her boss. The man never smiles. He has the word suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry? The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. Sounds like dinner. I open the door. New shelter unlocked. Cool. If you're at an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. Wow. Luxury. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. What an incredible sense of humor indeed. Hey, remember carrying Django out in the mountains? Good times. I remember Django just bleeding out of the stumps he had where legs used to be. That was hilarious. You're lucky to show up. Oh, you're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today, maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. Really. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Hovloven. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Let's be distance, I guess. I won't stay here long, I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for a Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Dell. What a welcoming name. And they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden is always going to find work here in the north, though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here at this time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment, he meets your eyes. I drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee in spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with the worrying thought I have. Which is? There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day, they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Tice, the mayor, about Glaucia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glaucia's ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. Wow, we're already getting like knee-deep in factions. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have the chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? I don't want to piss this guy off. We just met him. I nod. Great. What else do you need? Oh. I need food. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full, you'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. Did he rip the claw off of a dragon? Holy shit. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. The berries are not a problem. The innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snake. We were just talking about this. Unlike the snakes, better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. And protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Fine, I'll go right away. Well, better do it. I have no food in my stomach, so we should do it. We should just do what we can. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They are round and reddish. You wouldn't trust You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns. There's got to be a standard thickness to these coins, and that means someone is making shorter counterfeit ones. That's a good observation. There probably is some kind of standard, but I don't know who's enforcing it out here. Like, there doesn't seem to be any government. Everyone seems to kind of be on their own. So I don't know. They did say that people don't really recognize the coins in too many places, so it might be that this is like one of the few places where we can actually use the coins to buy goods. You don't know much about these berries, yada yada. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. A bucket full of berries. You return to the courtyard. 2 of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. The wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I enter the inn. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is mixing something in a pot at the stove. So, you again, need anything? I put his fruits on the counter. Great. He peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to the merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. Oh, fantastic. And like I said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thanks. And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. I give him the hook. I'm fine. He takes the tools from you and nods. Need anything else? I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat, but I do want you to find him. So, when asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins! My half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks out a window and starts to play with a shutter. Whenever I write, I'm trying to get back into it, but whenever I write, I like to do little things like this, where in order to pace out the writing and like the dialogue and to give a little more momentum to the scene, so that to help your brain along, little things like this, like looking out the window and playing with a shutter, or something like that. I really like throwing things in there, and this is nice. I like this. Also here, he rubs the table with his thumb as if trying to clean an invisible stain. He's messing around with little bits of the inn because this is his place. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. I've asked travelers I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it. He's such a nervous, soft man in a world that is so cruel. That's probably why he's surrounded by wolves and men. It's where he can safely do business, make investments. About Glaucia's band. He freezes, observing her hand silently. He wants me to get the answer from the mayor. Oh yeah, okay, so that's for reporting in. Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Oh, that's good of him. But you know what you're doing. Who are you wondering about? Tell me about... I don't know. Glaucia? Can we get any information on her? I met her oh my god, that's cool. I've met her more than once. She's older than me, wrinkled, tanned. I don't know how she survives for so long. I've heard she's from the coast. I don't really know her story. She's strong, though, and convincing. She wanted to move her band to Pelt, make huts in the courtyard. When I told her to leave, she didn't make a scene or anything, but her face, it was chilling. He looks at the stove, and she may want revenge. Glaucia is a cruel soul in a scary shell. How about... Fuck, what's the name of that? I'm really bad with names. I'm bad with names. What's the name of that, what was the name of... it wasn't Talio, something similar. Like the soldiers back at the camp. Do we have, like, a list of characters that we know, or... Archive? Holy shit. How far back can we go? Not that far. We've got a character sheet. Oh, that's interesting. Your appearance has a whole, like, thing. Okay, cool. Let's change the topic. I don't know too many other people. What can you tell me about the peninsula? Oh god. What can anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. There's a list of known characters, I think, somewhere in there, but you can ask about nearly anything. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks toward the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Yeah, if we could find a... Hang on. Oh, a journal, maybe? Humans! There we go. Tulia, that's her name. Okay. Bandits camps, Hovleven, Howers... Oh my god! Oh, good lord above. Apes and monkeys. The limbs and tails of these furry critters have an uncanny strength, a result of the time they spend swinging from branches and climbing, doing their best to avoid the terrestrial predators. Unlike goblins, they rarely attack humans and don't use weapons, but can savagely defend their territories, to the point of participating in lasting wars with other packs, and even with human settlements. Some tribes hunt for their meat, but these beasts are still hardly understood, and many tales ascribe to them unusual powers and abilities. We haven't even seen gold. There's golems. This is just stuff we... Hunt lords? Some tribes hunt for them, yada yada. The communities that distinct apes from monkeys usually describe the former as the larger ones with broader chests and the latter as the smaller creatures with tails, but these labels don't always match the reality. Dude, this is amazing, because this list, we've got trolls, we've got zombies, we've got fucking unicorns, we've got saurians, we've got spiders, which are probably massive, we've got tree ants, we've got howlers, and at the top, we've got fucking apes and monkeys, and in this description, they're just normal apes and monkeys, because apes and monkeys are fucking nuts. I love it. Oh yeah, I've fought a dragonling before, but have you ever fought a fucking monkey? They jump and throw things. Oh, this is good. There's a couple things. What's a runner? Oh, they're birds. They're like ostriches. Okay. These birds are usually larger and taller than humans, but there's not many of them left. Like all birds, they move on 2 legs, but their wings are very short, and it's anyone's guess what their actual purpose is. You ever fight your cousin? Same thing. It's like fighting a child that's stronger than you, yeah. Like, it's obscene. But their wings are very short, and it's anyone's guess what their actual purpose is. Travelers often encounter these creatures near the roads, but they also do well in the woods. Their beaks are as large as a human head. Fuck. And their strong necks allow them to easily get through their prey's skin. An unarmed soul would never be able to hurt one of them, but blades, especially those made of steel, pierce them easily. Yeah, these guys are probably... If you've ever done research into Australian wars, these guys are also... they're bullet resistant too, apparently. They know skirmishing tactics. Undead. Any breathless human shell touched by a fog or by the spell of a necromancer wakes up as a bloodthirsty beast. They seek new... Oh god, they want me to grow stronger. May it be waiting for other foggy days or by collecting it from the dead. The more magic fills their new form, the greater their intellect and capabilities. They start using weapons, mechanisms, tools, even magic, and start to use a human-like speech. I like this. There's still more to learn about them, because I feel like this will be gone if we actually learn everything. Pebblers. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers, maybe the most infamous sources of nuisance for farmers across the Dragonwoods. They can get as big as a house. Maybe just as heavy. From time to time, pebblers look for some unusual tastes, like meat or honey, which can encourage them to bother human settlements. Once they get used to a specific spot, like an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them may be a huge endeavor. There are but a few blades able to cut through their thick skin and durable bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, and then encourage them to look for human dwellings to tear them down in revenge. I don't know what this looks like. They just get big? If they look for honey, are these are they bears? They might be bears. I'm thinking bears right now. Saurians. Saurian is as a term as vague as monkey and covers a vast range of 4-legged creatures that resemble small dragons. Okay, yeah, they're giant lizards. Some of them are hunted for meat, especially the smaller ones, while the larger ones often attack humans, though prefer heavier animals that can satiate them for longer. There are many tales about the unique abilities that some of their groups may possess, but they are among the lesser understood creatures. A bear as big as a house. I don't like it. I don't want to see that. I don't want to deal with it. Fucking... What's worse than a bear? A bear as big as a house. Yeah, you're right. What is a hunt lord? Hunt lords and hunt queens spend their lives trying to take over the land of their opponents or looking for a promising mate, although only for the time it takes to copulate. They can quickly run, climb, and jump on 4 paws, but are also more than confident fighting on their hind limbs, larger and stronger. Okay, pebblers are not bears. Noted. Because a bear's just a different thing. They're known to be the perfect killers. Their deafening roar, which cuts through the air whenever they finish their hunt, can be heard every night. Okay. That sounds bad. I can guess for most of these. How big are spiders? The most dangerous types inhabit ruins or very lush and dark parts of the forest. They sit all by themselves in their webs waiting for critters that have lost their way. Some are... yeah, of course. I figured they had giant spiders. Cow size? That's a little bigger than I was expecting. But yeah, I figured they had big spiders. Strong enough to cut through a human shell with their legs? Others use a poison-like substance that destroys their prey's flesh. It's impossible to list all the unique tricks they use, either to strike first or to defend themselves. Pebbler just makes me think that it's just like a rock, but then there's golems. Maybe it just looks like a rock, not a man. Pebbler. It's like... It's weird, because pebble isn't like... That's not a verb. Like what is one who pebbles, you know? Does it eat pebbles? I don't know. It eats meat and honey, so... Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Foxes and such, that's just normal animals. You know, we're not worried about them. Oh, I do have an idea what a pebbler is. I don't know if it's really it, but okay. Yeah, I assume we're gonna run into one at some point. I feel like all of these have to be relevant if they're in the list. Howlers are monkeys of strong limbs and tails, though still not as dangerous as apes. Don't mess with those apes. Instead of using weapons, they fill the territories with otherworldly calls that are harmful to most creatures, including humans. While their furs are often seen as beautiful, they don't have impressive claws or teeth, and their meat is seen as unsavory. Still, the books of rites churches mention a few grand battles over land between howlers and humans. Okay, what's the term? Sonic monkeys. That's what we can call them. They make sound. They do sound damage. Unicorns, these massive beasts covered with thick brown fur. That's not what I think a unicorn is, but okay. Are named after the horns sticking out of their skulls, often larger than a human shell. That's big! They move on 4 legs in dense forests and open meadows, but since they avoid settlements or even commonly used roads, they are shrouded in mystery with legends and rumors that often contradict one another. Yet unicorns are among the most feared creatures of the Dragonwoods, infamous for holding a crucial role in the wrath of the herds. They charge in the front, able to get through wooden and most stone walls with a single crash, ignoring the wounds they receive in the process. Their part is then done. Other beasts can get inside, not bothering with the defenders. So the animals group together to attack settlements. Okay. Nature conspires against man. Okay. What about beast folk? Are they furries? Many believe that talking about beast folk brings bad luck. It's difficult to even judge if there's such a thing as a pure specimen. Each one of them partially resembles another animal: a boar, a wildcat, bear, owl, lizard. Yet no matter if they have long tails, fangs, tusks, claws, or antlers, they're always bipedal. I mean, I would call a woolly rhino a unicorn. It's true in a way. There is one horn. That is what the name means. But, like, there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things that it brings to mind. I assume we're being paid well. It's a merchant's guild. If they skimp on me, that would be bad for them, I think. Yet no matter if they have long tails, fangs, tusks, claws, or antlers, they're always bipedal and seemingly capable of working together. Packs, some people say, others call them tribes. These mysterious creatures show up all across the realm, hunting for animals as well as travelers, but it's not clear how smart they actually are. They don't use weapons nor speak, yet seem to partially understand human behavior. Even Wright's tablets describe a woman who used to trade with beast folk before they ate her. Okay. The smallest beast folks, usually with wolf-like heads, are known as gnolls. While threatening in large numbers, in small groups they don't present a problem for a skilled, confident fighter. Okay, they're not... So they're small, got it. Little guys. Dragon's size and the danger they present is beyond the understanding of humans. Okay. Some of them move on 4 limbs and devour leaves all day long. Some are bipedal and walk in the wilderness hunting for other monstrosities. Others fly on their massive wings or have other, even magical powers. Dragon hides and trophies are one of the most rare and valued crafting resources on the land, capital T, capital L, and their bones are either cut into small disc-like coins or turned into weapons, armors, or tools. Dragonlings are fast and bipedal, often as tall as a human. They're bipedal, okay, often as tall as a human. Travelers encounter their packs near the roads. They're used to chasing their prey with an extra advantage in an empty field than in the forest. They have a thick, dragon-like skin, powerful jaws, short hands, and some of them are partially covered with furs. Oh god, there's a glossary. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Okay, sorry. Small tangent. We're back. Lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here, yada yada. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. Okay. What will I find traveling west? Well, there are hills nearby, then you'll find a village. That was a rabbit hole. Oh yeah, this is a video game, yeah. Well, there are hills nearby, then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago, nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted, but who knows, who cares. Okay. He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. A game and a novel. It's exactly what I need. I wanted to get back into reading anyway. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing about someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there, but keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn. That sounds like a fucking... That sounds like a rainforest cafe. I'm not going there. He lets out a gentle smile. I nod. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like Griffin's Lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So, 3 villages, really. Howler's, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, in the marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't let them tell you more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell other travelers as well. Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here, you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but, you know. The eastern forests are wild, but the roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. Wow, that's grim. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. They just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow. Wait a minute. Okay. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So, back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. Plenty of people stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Have you ever been to the northern coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. That's all I need. I really want to see a game. It'd be really funny if we had a game in this style, but it took place in, like, New York or something. Like, could you imagine you're in the middle of, like, you're in like a neighborhood, and it's like, oh, should I go north? Don't go there. It belongs. That neighborhood belongs to the beast. Like, you walk north and you just see like a guy in like a fursuit with a chainsaw. And you're like, I better get out of here. I don't know. It'd be funny. I want to see a game. I want to see a game that's like the beasts are taking over Brooklyn. It'd be funny if we saw. I don't know. I want to see a game kind of like you know, a game I always admired was like Earthbound, Mother 2, because it's like. Earthbound did a really good job making a real-ass place look super strange using just people. Like, it's like you just walk around and just see, like, oh yeah, you're fighting a tree now, the tree suicide bombs you or something like that. Just like the world's dangerous and hostile, but it's also just nonsensical, so it doesn't have the same, like, effect. So you're just like, you walk down and a mailbox, like, runs after you and, like, ambushes you in a street, and you're like, I guess this is happening now. I don't know, I always kind of admired that, just because it did a really good job taking, like, the familiar and making it weird to the point where you're doing shit like going to a fast food restaurant just feels like a new experience when nothing makes sense anymore, you know what I mean? Like, and like Disco Elysium did the same thing, but in like a different way, where like you walk down to the innkeeper and the innkeeper's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna need 12 real from you for the damages that you've inflicted upon this place, and then your character's like, okay, cool. What's real? And the guy goes, real is money. And then your character's like, what's money? Like, it's like, because you don't know anything at the start of that game, and that also gives everything like a whole new flavor to it, because that, like, you always take for granted whenever you start a game that your character just knows basic things like what money is and what's going on to some extent. I chose that option too. Dude, it's fucking great. Like, you like, the guy goes, oh yeah, you need, like, I don't remember how much, like, you need 35 real, and you can find some money earlier, and your guy goes, oh, here, is this 35 real? And he goes, no, That's 35 cents. I've discovered some things and still haven't finished because I'm utterly harrowed. Oh, yeah. But it's like, my favorite interaction at the start of Disco Elysium is like, you hold up and he's like, no, that's 35 cents. You need 100 cents to make 1 real. You owe me 35 real. And then like, I think the narration says something about like you just realize how much the difference between what you have and what you need is. And then one dialogue option you could pick is, but that's sad. And then the innkeeper's just like, yeah, it is. That game's fucking amazing. I'd recommend it to anyone out there, any human being. I feel like it humbles you as a person. lets you think about things. Anyway, I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. So you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade, the villagers stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest, except for that one time where that guy got his legs chopped off. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Hovlavon and not work for another day of our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for this guy sounds like this guy sounds like he's running a startup. I love it. Is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years, I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city, it would have been in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap and had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. Why would you go to an inn called Mugger? The good places used at least 2 words. Empty barrel, a rose and a helmet, Empress's smile. Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive, he chuckles. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for and what will make us reach our goals. Alright, I think... Let's check out what he's got. New trader unlocked. I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap. Priceless for a traveler. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash. Strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels, a U-bow, and wool cords, and the trigger just needs a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. Takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old can handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. Oh, this costs money. Money we don't have. Let's buy some soap. And some food, and then we can go. Alright, let's go. Maybe we can talk to the guards? The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown, hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to the touch of the human's hand and the brush with graceful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that its charge would leave Clops McGee dead in a breath. This poor horse. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, the new Roadwarden? She points at a window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. She's Irish. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back, but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins, or lose one. She winks. We can play dice or throw axes at a target. Sure, axe throwing. Let's see what happens. Your arrival, especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. The guards prepare a couple of wooden planks, which are leaned against the wall. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. There's going to be 4 participants and 8 rounds. You aim at a target drawn with charcoal. The person whose axe lands the closest to the center of the circle gets a point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. The person who has the most points at the end of the last turn becomes the winner. I blend in with the group. You talk a lot, but also don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Klops, McGee, and Tullia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a pour beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says the opponent with one arm. As a guest, you start with the first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the very middle of the painted target and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud, which makes it really difficult for the other players to outperform you. A minute later, you won the first round, but you can't expect to be that lucky every time. All I can do is try my best. You finish with only 1 point. You cast a dragon bone at a massive woman who stops her winning dance only briefly, surrounded by the rhythmic clapping of her crew. You're approached by the guard in yellow armor and her wholehearted laughter. I feel like we made some friends. I was foraging for berries for the innkeep. She chuckles. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from there. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil's different? She shrugs, then moves the hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot, and there are tree ants there, and wolves, even the furless wolves. And if you have to go through through the tall grasses, you watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many archers in the trees. She smiles as if it's a joke, but there are all too many worms, even larger than a water leech. I hate this place. I hate this place. Let's check out the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as is necessary. The oakish soap you own can help you get cleaner. Yeah, let's wash up. Ooh, +2. We're at a +2. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin or mud stains from your clothes. All right, I think we're good. Okay, cool. Hang on. Where? Journal. We got quests. Let's head over to Howler's Dell. This world is so intimately real in its character writing. Yeah, it's got a lot of texture to it. Let's keep going west, I guess. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also to the tight, rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and fine ambush spots. I keep an eye out for any sign of life. Okay. The ruined village. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. Okay, that means the place is abandoned. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. The sound of a gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. Take a closer look at the gate. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by the fire. It was torn away, possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge, but you'd expect that it would push the gate into the village, not away from it. We've got 11 hours until dusk. It's still pretty early. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? You can't really tell. Let's move forward. Where do you want to go? Let's check out the village. The buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood. I'm just relying on the fact that the birds were in the roofs to indicate that there's nothing scary around here. The buildings, some which are collapsed, are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks on the walls, especially close to the doors and window frames. They could belong to a dragonling or a large wolf, larger than the gray ones, or a corpse eater. Too many options to make a guess. Okay, let's hang on. What? These hairless, scaleless creatures resemble constantly stooped apes. What is it with the apes? But their limbs and torsos are extremely thin, as if there are barely any muscles on them. While they're nimble, their limited strength turned them into scavengers. They rarely move in packs. Wright's followers preach that corpse eaters should be purged from the dragon woods no matter the cost. A famous tale from the tablets describes the ancient home of the beast, this Shadow Vale. They hunted and devoured any human they could find, and woke up their undead shells right away, even without a fog. Countless expeditions, even from days before the 10 cities, were meant to wipe them out in the woods. I heard nipple instead of nimble. Wait a minute. We need to reread this with this new information. While they are nipple, their limited strength turned them into scavengers. Tragic. We got nipples eating corpses out here. Let's save real quick. I can only quick save? Wait. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. There's one save slot. Oh, no. Oh, I don't like that. That's scary. They could belong to a dragonling. Too many options to make a guess. Yet no beast remains in sight. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seems to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out on its own. It's quite large, but I can fit it on my saddle. There should be more in settings, are there? Oh, thank God, thank you. Okay, okay, I didn't notice the queue. It's quick save, quick load. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh, thank God. You see, we've got an expert. We've got an expert. Thank you, Belle. You feel a slight aching in your stomach. We ate. We should be okay. Do I have food poisoning? I hope not. Inspect the palisade in the west. The tracks of human footwear and many, many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal or goblin food, though you'd expect them to also hunt for the birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses in the north surround dozens of tree stumps already covered with moss and fungi. That'll be a fun challenge for some game. Maybe not this one, but in concept. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've seen games where they only give you one save, like a quick save, quick load. Or at least I feel like I've seen that before. No. You want to know a game? You want to know a game that only gives you one save slot, so every time you save, it's a big fucking deal? And so, like, you can permanently set the world state, and then you need to be worried about it in case you actually make decisions? Pokemon. Pokemon had... I don't know if it's still the case, but Pokemon had one save slot for the longest fucking time. Which I thought was... I thought it was kind of... I honestly didn't like it, because, like, because it's like... It's like you can only pick one starter, you know what I mean? So, like, I would want to keep multiple save slots, but I can't. Yeah, no, Pokemon on like the Game Boy and the DS and stuff, one save slot, brutal. As far as you can tell, meadow in the western of the forest. I shouldn't enter the forest. I like how it's not even an option. The game doesn't even let you be stupid. I love that. I shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. Inspect the clearing in the west. What the northwest part of the village? Wow, this place is fucked up. The colorful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests it could be a playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, and a single building to the south, completely burnt down. All of these places were cleaned out by scavengers. Klops McGee doesn't want to approach the large ruins in the north. The terrible stench of feces and rotting food scares you off as well. There were a bunch of people holed up there. I think that's what that means. That was shelter. The paths are covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime, so the pack should be asleep. If the beasts were active, they would try to scare you off or to hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you will face a furious enemy. I go somewhere else quickly. Southeast part of the village, anyway. Maybe. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings, left by children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the houses. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles, a slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a quarrel for a crossbow, still usable. Won't be difficult to find a use for it. I like how they call them quarrels instead of bolts like they usually do. Closer you are to the village, and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth, your forehead hurts, and you start to stumble. Clops McGee, worried by the sight, pokes your head with its nose. Yeah, let's leave. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. It may be better to leave, or at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Yeah, sounds like it. I don't know if that's just nausea from the smell, or if there's like a curse or something. Okay, I should return another day. Interesting. Clearing in the west. The meadow is lush and colorful. It's so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Clops McGee with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Wow, that's... Our character pays way more attention than I do, which I appreciate, because I'd be pretty stupid in this circumstance, I'm not gonna lie. If my story about me getting lost in the woods earlier hasn't tipped you off, I'm not very useful in nature. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely painted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals, though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. Fields in the southwest. You're surrounded by what looks like a field, Numa, and what looks like a field plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into a green lea. I need to look that up. What is... I clicked the wrong icon on my computer. Ah! No, Discord, go away. Go away. No, please. Okay, there we go. L-E-A. An open area of grassy or arable land. That just means that's just a field. Okay. A barren field? Maybe it was overused, but you would still expect the weeds to sprout. A curse? The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. I use my amulets to sense if there's Numa buried in this place. You unpack the wooden spheres, pleasantly smooth and light. I mean, nature usually leads me breaking down of walls of fortresses to weather. It leads to the breaking down of walls of fortresses to weather, not unicorns. I don't think you can be blamed for being less attentive. I mean, I was just talking about stuff like, watching, like trying to make sure the horse doesn't stand in anything. Like, I don't always pay attention when I'm walking around. Wow, hang on. I'm gonna do something real quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry, had to recalibrate something. When you place them in various spots, marking the positions by sticking a branch in the soil. All you can do now is wait, so you brush Clops McGee for a bit and make sure the saddle doesn't bother it. When you return to gather your amulets, all of them are much warmer than your skin. The entire field is corrupted, though seeing how there are already some plants growing from it, the spell is fading away. The curse is most likely as old as the last harvest. I walk away, I need these amulets to cool off. The pain in your stomach slows you down. Pasture in the southeast. Oh, we got like okay, that's what the whole deal is. This is really cool, like the fog of war style thing going on here. You don't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture, the loathsome dung eater, the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spots that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you could follow. Alright, let's leave. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east, separated by the lush meadow filled with crickets and rodents. Let's take a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath it and around it, seemingly to keep the plank stuck in the ground. I go somewhere else. Let's go. Let's ride off. The ruins, a once prosperous village now abandoned and full of debris. You're currently here. There's Pell to the north, a massive inn surrounded by a wall, a shelter for monsters and highwaymen. There's Tolia's camp. Okay. You enter the wetlands with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger, with teeth and claws, is hidden below the water surface. I stay away from the banks. I'm surprised we haven't had any, like, obvious, stupid, choices. Some games will do that if they're, like story and decision baits, where they'll put an option just do the dumb thing, just dive into the bog, just hop in there and see what happens, and then like the developers have a lot of fun writing a whole 3 paragraphs about how you get eaten alive. Stuff like that happens a lot. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. That's this thing here, I guess. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or was there a point in time centuries ago when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Klops McGee is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. However, whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. I know there are dark forces hidden here. I ask the right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul. Sure. You bow your head, trying to imagine an appropriate ritual. Whenever you start a thought, it runs away to the sounds of insects, visions of predators, smells of the muddy water. You rub your hands, focusing on what's in your grasp, collecting your wits slowly. It takes a few moments, but you start breathing without sensing the stench. You arrange all the chaotic images into a cohesive utterance. Your prayer is brief, but once it's done, you feel prepared. Let's check the water. You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it goes, you have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Are saurians? Do saurians double as alligators? Is that how this works? Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. That's a bad sign. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. Let's check the altar real quick. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of wind and rains. This bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored... Yeah, Asterion wrote across. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. Let's walk away for now. We don't know anything about the place. Let's check out those roots. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles that on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, it's soft, and it's warmer than you'd expect. Is it a flesh tree? I do something with it. What? Hang on, quick save. You guys want to do something dumb? You guys want to do something dumb? Does the tree bleed? The root is flexible and stretchy. Your blunt hits strike into it like it's a pillow. Whenever you lean away, it returns to its original shape. One more time. Cut. You pull out your knife, then stop in place. You can't tell what the results of wounding the tree would be. I want to know. Can you show me? Hang on. Let's. Oh shit! It doesn't. Wait. Hang on. No. Quick load. Let's do this real. Let's do this real quick. The cut is swift, but the nimble root. Okay, I'm gross now. The cut is swift, but the nimble root is difficult to hold. It backs down into the water, pulled by the rest of the creature, leaving trail or red bubbles and mud. The water quiets down a few minutes later. A chunk of the root is still in your fingers, so you move it into a jar from your bundles. Your hand is now covered with a red, sticky goo, smelling like rusty nails and sweet fruits mixed with beer. Well, rusty nails sounds like blood. You reach for a water skin and wash the plant's juices from your skin. Let's do that real quick. I think I pissed off the tree. Approach the altar, walk away. I guess we'll just keep traveling. We'll see what happens after we come back. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlings is feasting on the carcass of a great auroch. Oh, there's aurochs here. Cool. One of them, with red feathers on its arms, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward, and returns to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be, satisfied with their prey, or would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? For now, you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. The powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off and swallow chunks of meat. I ride forward, but I keep my distance and look over my shoulder. The beaten road serves your palfrey well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths along the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there's a large pasture with at least a dozen massive mouflons. Two of them, already sheared, okay, there's people living here, look comically small. Soon after that, you ride along vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. The stone wall separating you from the glow of lights behind it isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can't imagine climbing to its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as a city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sound of carts, running, hammers, saws, laughter, and shouts. I'm gonna do something real quick. I want to do one more thing with that tree root. Hang on. Can we pet the tree? No! Why not? I changed my mind. This game sucks. Lick it? Lick it? Fucking hell yeah, alright. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's lick it. Wait. It was the quick load that was by it. Fucking lick. Never mind, this game's amazing. Tell me what happens, narrator. The root is soft and doesn't resist your touch. Its smell is not far off from the stench of water from which it sticks out. You feel its warmth, or maybe it's just a trick of your imagination. After a couple of moments, your lips start to itch. That doesn't sound great. Can I rub it? Can I sit on it? Sit on the root. Speak to the root. Just talk. Yell. Throw a rock at it. Nope. Alright, we're just gonna... I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do we wanna pursue with the lick root universe, or do we want to go with the cut root universe? I already decided to cut the damn thing. Let's just go for it. They let you lick it, but you can't throw a rock. Come on. I want to talk to it. What if I called the root a stinky boy? What would happen? What if I yelled, fuck you, meat tree, and then I threw a rock at it? Come on. Alright, anyway, finally, maybe I can rest here. A young man is leaning against a closed gate covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath the green gambeson he wears an expensive tunic decorated with colorful trim. From his arm hangs a steel helmet, though the metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves into the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright with his chin up. There are two weapons on the ground, leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, still having some vigor left. Klops McGeest holds its tail high. A narrow path leads north toward two field workers, one with a hoe and one with a pitchfork. They wave to you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, gray pants and vests made from hemp and wool. What would you like to do? Abuse tree. Like root can be the universe that never happened, just intrusive thoughts in the real one. I mean, I think cutting the root was probably a stupid decision, is the main thing I'm, like, hesitant about it. I think the best thing to do would have probably been to leave it alone until I learned more about it, but, you know. I guess we're living in a violent world. I might as well be violent back. I wave back, why not? The first village I reached was Howler's Dell. Is that a... Is this like a series? Oh, is this like a series of events? Oh dear. They talk for a bit, looking toward you and pointing at your mount, then walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles, yet avoids... Jesus, okay. Squeaky stroke. The guard smiles, yet avoids your eyes, and has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're na here to make trouble, Howler's Dell welcomes you. We have the whitest flower there is. When he bows, you realize it's a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need right here in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests, robes, or if you're yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you we have the fabric you're looking for. His act is over, and he glances at your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with a childlike fascination. This is Clops McGee. It helps me patrol the roads. You can pet its side if you want, but no sudden movements. He follows your instructions. Even though your palfrey pays no attention to the man's careful touch, the guard grins widely, not wildly. I'm Musa, your new Roadwarden. I want to see your mayor. City folk, The mayor is busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. He knocks at the gate, which is then pulled inwards by two other guards, a man and a woman, wearing their own gambesons, similarly green but tailor-made to match their figures. The nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof made of planks. The watchtower has a ladder made of ropes and sticks, no stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away before he finishes the last word. The others close the gate behind you and observe your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to a humming creek running through the center of the village. I wait for the return of the messenger. It's totally going all the way around. It could go all the way around. That would be wacky, but that would make sense. But I was thinking it would just go across the top, but if it goes all the way around, that's fucking cool. Calming sound, that's Howler's Creek. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. Wide but shallow, there's nae been a flood in years. Pa told me there used to be nae bridges, neighbors crossed it with their boots in their hands, and 'tis clean like a raindrop, but there are nae many fish. We're the cleanest village in the north, her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. She can Nick come now? A friend of mine is in labor, The mayor wants to be there when... Okay, it's still talking. The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. I nod. Fine. He approaches the watchtower. Tie your mount here, we'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs the rope ladder. The view from up there is gorgeous. I climb after him. He seems friendly for now. I don't think they're gonna eat me yet, but it's possible. It's on the table. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up creepers. You, on the other hand, need to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile. I look around. See, there's nae place like Howler's Dell. The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the fields and their crops, the flocks and their pastures, and the shepherds inspecting the fences. Dude, I envy this kind of pixel art. I wish I could, I kind of want to be able to do something like this one day. The flocks and the pastures and the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient garden of trees and bushes larger than the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you are to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. The sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool, and the beer, 'tis excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. No wonder he's so proud. Why wouldn't he be? They've tamed this scrap of land and live in comfort. What an annoying kid. Near Hovlavon, you could find 5 larger and richer settlements in less than 2 days. Let's not be a dick. The islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever open, as it leads nowhere now. Near the eastern gate, there's the Ape Ale Inn. There's fucking the Rainforest Cafe and their jungle fries, where you can find a bed and victuals, and there's the stall where Akakios rewards our work, unless we annoy him with pointless talk. He lets out a chuckle. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Beyond, the breast clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast near the wall, but they do nae talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunter. Hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller, the pie maker lives with his sister, the baker, the smith and her husband, the carpenter live with their kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe 3 generations at once, but there could be more than 100 dwellers here. You consider stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There, see? The mayor's coming, the one wearing purple. You're free to join her, traveler. Oh, they've got a female mayor. That's progressive. I nod and head down. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make sure that it's a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You're relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pasturage surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens, and a tethered boar. The fancier buildings are covered with whitewash coating and surrounded with vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for Klaus McGee, walking on the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The islet is empty, but you notice an empty stall painted with the shapes of colorful flowers. I'll walk over the second bridge. So I guess we're up on the platform here, I think, and like we crossed. Oh no, we crossed over one of the things, and then we crossed over the other one, I guess. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people observing you, smiling, or casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Okay, something's wrong here, because this place is too fucked up for there to be normal, friendly people here. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water. Is it this area? Surrounded by dark water, held together by a thin wall, perfect for sitting. No, held together by a wall. Oh, here, I think. Okay. No, I'm trying to keep track of where everything is. But the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. Ew. Oh, sulfur? The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south next to the swamp altar. Oh, if they have sulfur in the water, they might be crazy. That could happen. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. The villagers are... Oh, that's this place, I think. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances. On the side of the dining area, the merchant is arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker. An old man is sitting by himself eating a pie with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. I need a spot to tether Klaus McGee. There's a wide wooden roof next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Klaus McGee starts to chew on a nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. You return to the inn. I look for the mayor and approach her. Don't sleep here? Noted. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy. I thought this said 4-eyed for a second here. I think you were on the right side of the river with the bear tree and the city view. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, we're on the right side of the village. Okay, cool. Thank you. Good catch. On her knees, she's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk. Fancy people out here. And added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean. That sounds... You know what this reminds me of? You ever see someone, like, get, like, a bowl of Greek yogurt and then just, like, dump a bunch of stuff in it to make it taste like regular, like sweetened yogurt? That's what it reminds me of. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mayor titters. Duna gets distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons, and you'll go help Papa in the kitchen, eh? She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile. These people are too nice. Then turns her attention back to her companion. I observe her more closely. Oh, God, it's a description. Her long, full-sleeved linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Hovlavon. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape as thin as a shawl. Her brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale with powdered and rouged cheeks. She's got makeup on and her lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick gray strands in her long blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She is dripping. She's shorter than most people around, though would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. I wait for as long as it takes. After a few more minutes, the boy lets out a gentle cough, and after a pat on the back, the mayor puts him on the ground. You did a great job, love, but now I need to speak with our guest. Darling, she addresses one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firm. Oh, take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. Yes, ma, she responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble their mother. Noted. So we have a Roadwarden again. Please sit down. She vaguely shows you the palm of her open hand, letting you pick any place you want. Since I'm her guest, I sit on a bench next to her. I sit on the stool opposite her. I'm here as a trade partner. Let's sit opposite. You have a good look at the inn's front door, leading to a cellar-like ground floor. It's dark, with crates and barrels covered with fruits, nuts, and vegetables. The actual inn is upstairs. Okay, so this is the cellar, and that's the inn. Got it. The actual inn is upstairs, but the only people who go in or out are the workers, most of whom are teenagers. The mayor observes your outfit carefully, at first looking as if she just ate an onion. Well, yeah, I'm at one appearance. As if she just ate an onion, but then puts on a polite smile. Once her eyes meet... I wonder what would have happened if we weren't covered in fucking meat tree goo. Once her eyes meet, she hardly ever looks away. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring us something soon. No food is free. Now, let's not get silly. She lowers her voice. Nothing is free, but every act of kindness is a trap. I'll fill your stomach now, and we'll both fill our pouches later on. And of course, she brings back her smile. 'Tis a custom of ours to lend a hand to lost travelers. The forest is full of fruit, and there's no reason for us to suffer from hunger. I'm still good. Her eyes widen, contrasting with her sudden burst of laughter. So be it, but do not expect me to sit here with an empty belly. She taps her stomach. I'm a host, nay a martyr, and as we're waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. If you're but a mercenary, I can nae imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening. Nae so long as after I really hope this is the correct accent. After Asterion's disappearance, there is nae glory or treasures to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent, then clasp, leaving the four fingers pointing at you. You are sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. Yeah, let's be supportive and cordial. I'm in her place. I present Hovlavon's interest as an opportunity. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious sides of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief. The troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish, the overview of taxes. Trade routes would bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently, without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle left and right, left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud, but it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy, despite her smile. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick, but when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is now almost identical to the one used in the city. Oh, interesting. Oh, she's tricky. Okay. I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. Even if I were eager to put trust in the words of a stranger, your honesty has nothing to do with the truth, necessarily. It doesn't put me in an easy position, as you can imagine. Here, listen to this trick I learned about during my studies. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her hands to freely make gestures. You make a deal with a settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coin and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you're ready to pay for more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can nae butcher any more mouflons, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock. Just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. As she pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts, and she has no itchy switching between accents. I keep a straight face. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mouflons and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. They can't refuse. I nod. She's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. The pause doesn't linger for long. I see we understand each other. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Tice, one of the keepers of the Ape Ale Inn and the mayor of Howler's Dell. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answer back to Hovlavon. She wonders for a moment. Say, when can we expect the first caravan? After winter? It depends on what you can sell, and what you want in return. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey. Fuck, that sounds good. Gives you second thoughts. The juices are sinking into the round trencher. A plate made of simple brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought... Dude, I'm not sure if I'd be able to drink buttermilk. Buttermilk's sour, isn't it? It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother, and in the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming you have no interest in a meal, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. And so, yeah. Thais tears the meat to smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Yeah, she definitely wanted me to eat so that I'd owe her one. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You can make a substitute by putting a teaspoon of lemon juice in regular milk. Yeah... I'm not into that. I use buttermilk to cook, and I use buttermilk to bake, and that's about it. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding... If I was a scholar, this would probably sound different. So the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Krithbuth. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. Buttermilk battered chicken, please. Oh, yeah. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. The one time I used buttermilk was to bake, I had like leftover buttermilk because I used it. I used buttermilk for one thing, I don't remember what it was, and I had a bunch left over, and I was like, what am I going to use this for? So I just made a loaf of bread that turned out pretty good. I don't remember what type of bread I ended up making, but I think it was just like white bread. It was a little tough, but it was good. Ate it with some butter. Dude, warm bread's such a fucking winner. Highly recommend baking. Try giving baking a shot just so that you can make like one warm loaf of bread fresh from the oven, and then like you eat it with some butter and you're like, oh, it's really fucking good. Anyway, understandable. You won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive even after they trade for our crops, for we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creek sells meat and wood. You make cookies? Outstanding. I made cookies yesterday. One good loaf of bread is life-changing, and it builds society. Absolutely. We owe everything to bread. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creek sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been to Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. White Marshes, on the other hand, as well as Old Pagos, are close to worthless, for a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, and adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Musa, how's Hovlevan? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Interesting. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. It's far from great. I think we're going to stick with making it sound good. Just picked up some Japanese milk breads. Oh my god, yeah, I bet. That sounds, yeah, Japanese, like, milk bread sounds outstanding. It's nearly cake, honestly. Man, I should have had some melon pan when I was over in Japan. That was a missed opportunity. Melon pan. Anyway, we're gonna keep Hollow on sounding good. I was hoping to hear that. Her smile shines with kindness. I thought they were done for, losing all those ships and getting cut off from so many tribes. I'm surprised the soldiers didn't butcher all the priests and traders to fill their stomachs. Holy shit. It felt so unavoidable that I even came back home, afraid for my life. But I still carry memories of that place, most of them warm. I'm glad the others haven't given up. Her smile fades away and she speaks without looking in your direction, giving you a moment of rest. The first time I crossed the city walls and saw the streets, my soul saw them as if they were made of dragon bones, not stone. All those people and the noise and high houses and this life happening all around me. But after only 2 years, everything collapsed for the first time in human memory, like a burning dollhouse. She pauses, rests her hands on her stomach, and turns back to you. But don't let me drag you away from your duties. How can I help you, Musa? Oh boy. Starting to get a little tired. We're at well past 2 hours, and it's pretty. I already started late, so we're getting pretty deep into the night for me. I think I'm going to call it for tonight, since this conversation's going way longer than I thought it would. We're gonna save real quick. I think we're definitely gonna come back. I was originally gonna do a one-shot, but this game looks like it's a lot weightier than I thought it was, so I might actually come back. I might actually use it to replace what time are you starting next time? We'll see. I'm hoping to start... Usually when I do this, it's 8 p.m. PST, 11 p.m. EST. I was thinking about making this a one-off. I kind of... the way my schedule works is that I usually stream on either Thursday or Friday, like at the times I said. And I stream on the weekends, which 11 a.m. PST, 2 p.m. EST, and... that's on Saturday and Sunday. I usually do playthroughs on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm in the middle of 2 already. I'm doing Yakuza Like a Dragon on Sunday, and Far Cry 6 on Saturday. So what I was thinking is that I might save this game for another time, but because I already have a game I wanted to play next week on Thursday. So we might come back to this game after I do this. There's a game that came out recently called Book of Hours, and I wanted to give that a shot for Thursday. And have that be like, you know, because it's made by the same people that make Cultist Simulator, so I wanted to give that a shot next week. But after that, I might come back to this, so that would be like 2 weeks from now. And I might do a playthrough or something. I'm a little hesitant because it sounds like this is one of those games you should play through multiple times. But I don't know what to expect, so I'll give it a shot. I just saved, right? Yeah, we're good. I think we'll call it here for tonight. It's pretty interesting. I'm very engaged, even though this was literally entirely conversation. But yeah, we'll come back in a couple weeks. I'd love to play it sooner, but I think I already have next week kind of planned out, so, and my schedule's a little stuck as it is. So. Glad I found you. Oh, thank you very much for coming. I'm glad you found me too. But yeah, I think I'm rambling now. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying the game. I'm pleasantly surprised. So I'm definitely planning on sticking with it in the future. So yeah, as I said, next time I stream is probably gonna be on Saturday, early afternoon, and yeah, that'll be the next time I see you guys. I'm glad I'm moved in now, so we'll be back to our normal schedule, and we'll be back to doing things as they should be. And I'm gonna work on like trying to find ways to make things better. So yeah. Anyway, look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys have a good night, and I hope you have a good rest of the week and a good weekend if I don't see you later. And yeah, thank you very much for coming. Bye bye.